So agents, let me ask you this. Are you sick and tired of hearing that you are not worth what you're paid? We know that it's a common misconception, but I personally believe that the ones to blame for that are real estate agents. We are not communicating our value and showing our value, because the normal public, they just think that we get paid by opening doors and showcasing properties. Now, there's no doubt there are agents out there that are overpaid. They're simply just opening doors, showing properties, and not even really providing a level of service that the consumer deserves. So if you want to be considered a pro, I want you to know today I am going to bring you some goods. So I want you to stay tuned. I am going to share a massive value proposition for you to share with the public, for you to share with your sellers, your buyers, and even those pesky naysayers. But first, here's a suggestion for you. I want to make sure that you like and subscribe to this channel so you can stay on this journey. I want you to know that being a unique agent and a pro in this marketplace is going to allow you to stand out. Why? Because it's simply oversaturated with mediocrity. You and I know the truth about what we actually do, and it is far more complex. We just simply have not been effective enough in educating the public about the comprehensiveness of what we do. Many agents just, what do? They highlight fast sales. They post offers above asking price on their platforms, when in reality, that success, it really has more to do with the market fluctuations and the interest rates rather than their own methodologies. Here at Speaking of Real Estate, we believe that no market determines our income. But what's that take? It takes a system and a process for you to live in that reality. Many agents, they don't have a written process at all. They simply just rely on their memory. They're very reactionary. And I don't know about you, but I've heard this statement before. Well, I've been doing this for 20 years. That's great. But consider this. Would you feel comfortable if your surgeon or accountant operated based solely on guesswork? Today, I'm going to lay it all out for you. I want you to know that I am here to provide you with a tool that is going to help you revolutionize your approach. It is going to be a checklist filled with 47 vital activities. You heard me right, 47. And vital, what does it mean? It means that it must be done in order for your business to survive. This is not just a list. It is a blueprint for success. It's designed to enlighten your clients and help you streamline your process. With the checklist, there is going to be a direct path to the closing table. It is going to become clear, especially if you've been dealing with unpredictable highs and lows in real estate. I want you to know it's going to become a thing of the past. So if you are ready to transform your business and avoid the highs and lows and stay consistent in your business, you're in the right place today, my friend. So let's start by pulling back the curtain on what it really takes to close a deal in real estate, especially on the listing side, because it's more than just a quick sale and it's more than just a social media post. It truly is a comprehensive process that requires a very meticulous attention to detail and hard work. So if you're a real estate agent, I'm going to be sharing the list with you today that you are going to be able to personalize for your listing appointments. That way it allows you to clearly communicate your value to your sellers. And if you're a viewer here watching, I want to make sure you know this is a chance for you to really gain insight into the extensive behind the scenes effort that really should go into a real estate transaction. In a previous video, which I'm going to link below, I shared with you 7 vital listing responsibilities that every listing agent must embrace in their real estate operation. The 47 activities that I'm going to share today, those each are going to fall under those vital activities. It's really going to bring you a ton of clarity in your listing department. So let's recap them. The 7 vital responsibilities are lead gen, lead conversion, administrative preparation, marketing and exposure, presenting and negotiating, closing preparation, and post-closing activities. These 7 things must be done or your business fails. Now I know today when we go through this video, you are undoubtedly going to be nodding your head going, yeah, Shayla, I already know that. It's not a matter of whether or not you know it. I want to make sure that this is something that you not only know, but that you are doing it. You are incorporating it into your system and process and tracking it, and that it's written down and part of your everyday operation. We must always keep in mind that success, it's a result of what? Success is a result of duplicating a process. So I'm going to share with you a process today that's going to guarantee that you will attract serious sellers. Now feel free to modify any part of this list to better fit your style or your specific content needs. It's my goal that you walk away today knowing that you must implement these steps into your process. You're going to be able to take this and then start sharing it with your sellers when you go on those listing conversations. It's going to ensure that you get them to the closing table and beyond. So if you already have a list, that is great. I want you to compare it to ours and make sure that you customize it and make it your own even more. Because really there isn't an option for you not to continue to improve that. And it's not an option for you to operate your business any longer without a checklist. Can we agree? So let's go ahead and get to the goods of the 47 vital listing activities. So just so you know the cadence of all of this, I'm going to first share with you the vital responsibility, and then I'm going to share with you the vital activities that fall underneath that responsibility. That way, if you only want to delegate a portion of your business, you can do that. So vital listing responsibility number 1, it's lead gen. You cannot close a listing without generating a lead. So the vital activities that fall under lead gen are going to be finding sellers. You're going to generate seller leads in multiple ways. Perhaps it's a FSBO. Maybe you're calling expired listings. Maybe you're focusing on networking. Maybe you're focusing on social media. You could be utilizing just listed, just sold postcards. Here's an idea for you. If an agent in your office is holding an open house and they don't typically door knock, you can have face-to-face potential seller conversations as a result of their open house. Farming a neighborhood is also an option. And do not forget to communicate with your SOI, because we both know that they are going to have conversations with someone this year that's going to want to buy or sell. You want them to remember you, right? And so the second vital listing responsibility is lead conversion. I tell you, I hear so many agents talking about looking for leads when I'm in the recruiting room, when they really should be focused on the education and the flow of how to convert a lead. Keep in mind, we need to be asking pre-listing questions. I believe that small hinges swing big doors. Therefore, it's these conversations that you're having in the pre-listing conversations that's going to make a huge difference. It's going to help you differentiate yourself from the competition. It's going to help you add value. And not only that, it's going to help you increase your referral business because of the phenomenal job you're doing up front. Then you're going to need to assemble pricing tools. So we teach a 7-step pricing strategy so it doesn't overwhelm your sellers with a 40-page CMA. Sometimes those include bar graphs and multiple pictures. I believe that doing it that way is really herd behavior. Everybody presents to the seller a CMA, and honestly, it's mind-numbing. Instead, I want you to distinguish yourself by presenting a very unique and understandable complete set of pricing tools. These are going to revolve around crucial pricing considerations. It's going to allow for complete self-discovery by the seller. It's transformational, honestly. Then you're going to confirm the appointment. And I don't know about you, but in all professional services that I've ever been a part of, confirmation of my attendance to an appointment, it's amazing, because then if they're not able to show up, you can take that time and reallocate it to another area of your business instead of showing up and them not being there. Then you need to prepare the listing agreement as much as you can. I realize there are going to be things that you're not going to know in filling that out, but in filling out that listing agreement, it's really going to open your mind and give you that belief that you're going to get the listing. I would even recommend running a preliminary title search. That way, if there's any problems, that they get exposed at this point versus it coming up maybe a week or so ahead of closing. Now, the day of the appointment, you must get on the listing channel. Focus is going to be the key to success. Wherever you are, be there, be present. I want you to clear your head. You need to focus on the conversation at hand. Imagine the desired result and start believing it, because it doesn't do any good for you to get at bat with that seller if you cannot knock it out of the park. So maybe as you're pulling up to the house, you create a walk-up playlist or a song list, something that allows you to get pumped up and get focused. Now, whatever you do, arrive on time. Realtors are notorious for being late, and mainly it's because they're reactionary in their business, and so they're flying by the seat of their pants. You're walking in to have a listing conversation. Notice I didn't say presentation. This conversation alone is going to have 10 additional steps that are going to include you setting the tone, you uncovering what their needs are, and then prioritizing their needs. You're also going to transition into the pricing tools that we talked about. You're going to review pricing information. You're going to agree on the appropriate price entry point. You're going to transition to roles and expectations. Here's what you can expect from me throughout this process, and here's what I should be able to expect from you. It's going to create a win-win relationship. But it is important for you to agree on those roles and expectations at the very end. This is an important piece. It is time for you to communicate, this is a time for you to communicate with your sellers really on what your process is in returning phone calls and emails. Now, this allows you to step into the next phase of closing this listing agreement by explaining the full agreement and finalizing that listing agreement. So once you have signed the agreement and your sellers have signed the agreement, then we have the administrative steps that start taking place. You need to make sure that you've completed, all of the property details. That way you can fully complete your entry into MLS. That property detail, that input sheet, it's a process that if you do it now, when you transition and you start delegating that, you've already worked through that. So you simply just hand that sheet over to somebody else to input it. The next step is you're going to be taking professional photos. Do not use your cell phone. Then you're going to place a sign in the yard and get a lockbox on the house. We are almost there. So the next piece, I want you to mail a thank you letter to that seller. Do you know why? Because this is going to be a personal touch in your process. Remember, this is about you standing out and creating a relationship-based approach. We are not going to have a herd mentality. Next, you need to make sure that you have all of your documents in your virtual file uploaded. I can tell you as a broker, man, if you can get those agents uploaded or those documents uploaded as soon as possible, it's going to help you in your audit process. That way, if you missed a signature or you missed an initial, you are aware of it ahead of time instead of a few days before closing. And so another key item that gets overlooked is agents placing their client in their CRM that allows them to operate in a touch program. So, and I say that because your CRM typically allows you to set up campaigns for your seller that gives you more of a flow throughout the process as well, and it's not going to take you to actually do it. Now's a good time to maybe confirm that loan payoff to make sure that there aren't any changes based upon your initial conversation. Vital responsibility number 4, let's move into that. It is marketing and exposure. It's important to gain every step of the way confirmation from your sellers. You want to make sure that after they review your marketing plan, they answer to you, or that you ask them the question, do you feel as though your home is going to be well exposed and promoted with this marketing plan? That way a seller is not calling you later on saying, why did you do this? And why didn't you say this? You want to continue to gain agreement on the process. Then we're going to move even further into the marketing and exposure activities, right? This is where you're going to put it on MLS. And honestly, this is where most agents stop. They put it on the MLS, put in the sign in the yard, and they pray. But we need to make sure that we're going and confirming with other websites once we put it on MLS that it's pulling the correct information. Now is a great idea to look up, to order your just listed postcards. It's important to create your social marketing, create your home flyers, I would go and knock on 25 of your neighbors, maybe 50 of the neighbors, but definitely send out those just listed postcards because not very many agents do that. And make sure you have a flyer in your hand when you door knock as well. When the agents show the property, get feedback from them. Hold a broker open. Prepare a weekly update sheet so when you call the seller with weekly updates, you're going to have something to talk about, right? Because most agents, they don't have anything to talk about. Therefore, in turn, they don't ever call the sellers. And that is typically the number one complaint is my agent listed my house and then I have not heard from them since. So we're going to operate differently. Now let's move into presenting and the negotiating phase, okay? This is going to include the activities of you soliciting multiple offers, you presenting offers, maybe you're presenting a counter offer. In this process, you need to make sure that you change the status in MLS and follow your local board guidelines. But you need to upload that accepted contract. You need to make sure you're up to date on negotiating repairs and keeping a copy of all the warranties and the repairs in your file as well. This process, it has a lot of activities, but all of them are vital in order for you to get to the closing table. So hang in there. Unless you don't want any more closings, then maybe you should probably get out of the business. So next, we are going to talk about closing and preparation. When you are preparing for a closing, I want you to make sure that you're staying away from Fridays and that you're staying away from days of the week that fall right before a holiday. Trust me on this, that it will only take you doing that one time and for something to need to be extended, and now you're pushed out even further. So let's also communicate with the seller what closing looks like at this point, when it's scheduled, what they need to bring with them, and what this process looks like for them. I would also prepare them that you're going to take a video testimonial and get a testimonial from them at closing because it's an incredible day and you want to get them in their most happiest and best mood. Then you need to review the title commitment. Don't assume that title will only call you when there's a problem. It is your job to make sure that there aren't any problems. Typically, we focus on a Schedule B requirement. If it comes up, we want to make sure we get that resolved before closing. If you do a preliminary title search, that may help you avoid some of those last-minute changes. And that preliminary title is huge for you to review. Next, it's going to be reviewing the HUD settlement statement. This is a piece that can often get overlooked. Agents just assume everybody else has put their eyes on it. And so you need to remember that you are represented to serve the seller, and that includes their money as well. Next, it's important for closing. I want you to be there and celebrate with them. It is a great time, like I said before, to get a review and to get a photo. And since you prepared them for the video testimonial, they're going to show up dressed up, ready for you to hit record. And it's amazing for people to see the emotions of your clients and the process and what it was like with you. So last but not least, post-closing activities. I want you to make sure that you follow your MLS rules, right? But you need to make sure that this is the time that you get that status changed in MLS, that you get those just sold postcards ordered, as well as getting your posting on social media. And be sure to tag your sellers, the home inspector, and the lender, and the rest of your team that assisted you in getting this to the closing table. Now it's time to celebrate with their old neighbors and door knock to the 50 closest neighbors and share your client's testimonial with them. You could also call 100 neighbors and then mail those just listed postcards. Again, it's about you setting yourself apart from the herd. Now, I am well aware there are a lot of things in this checklist, and there are things that you may already have that were not mentioned today. Add them to the checklist. The goal is for you to take this checklist, make it your own, and share it with your sellers. That way they can see everything that you do to get them to the closing table. And by doing this, we can also start educating the public together, because little by little, we can make an impact there. And now they're going to know that you do more than just put a sign in the yard, put it on MLS, and pray. It's time for us to start behaving differently and communicating differently with buyers and sellers to show our value. Keep in mind, your listing department, it needs this checklist. That way you're not micromanaging if you're a team lead, and if you're an individual agent, it allows you to duplicate this process. And having this checklist ensures that nothing in your listing department is getting overlooked. Now, I have included this complete list in the description box for your reference, and we're showing it on the screen as I speak. I want you to use it. I want you to put an end to people thinking that you are overpaid. Thank you so much for joining me today. I know this was long. I know this checklist is extensive, but I promise you, if you implement into your business, it is going to show that you are striving for excellence in everything that you do. Thanks for watching.